Welcome to a breaking news edition of Corkcon Today. Sony has just announced that PlayStation Vue will be shutting down January 30th, 2020. This was just announced within the last hour, and if you want to read all the news about this, I'll put a link in the show notes down below where you can find our full written text. But I wanted to get on here, do a breaking news edition of the show, and break down what I think happened and let you know what I've learned leading up to this shutdown of PlayStation Vue. Now, real quick, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV and still watch the shows you enjoy. Well, quick recap of what's happening. About an hour ago, Sony announced that PlayStation Vue will be shutting down. This comes a week after we learned it was up for sale. According to reports, they have failed to secure a buyer and have decided to just walk away from the service. It will shut down on January 30th, 2020, giving PlayStation Vue buyers or subscribers plenty of time to find a different service, or also warning new customers that, hey, we won't be around much longer. So keep that in mind. It is really nice to see Sony not just waiting to the last second, say, hey, next week PlayStation Vue is shutting down, go find something. So 2 thumbs up to Sony. I really appreciate that they did that. Something you probably wouldn't find most cable TV companies doing. So let's take a look at a brief history here. PlayStation Vue was the second national live TV streaming service following Sling TV. Huge loyal following. There was even a time where it was rumored that PlayStation Vue may have been the largest subscriber base of live TV streaming services. Sony reported their numbers, but PlayStation Vue did not. Now, we have confirmed, according to multiple sources, that they only have about 500,000 subscribers today. That is way behind Hulu and Sling TV, both confirmed over 2 million according to reports. And YouTube TV rumored to be close to 2 million, if not already over it. And then also it's behind DirecTV now. Now, PlayStation Vue subscriber numbers have been falling recently. Several price hikes have taken effect and more. Sony says that they were unable to secure good deals. And this is something we've heard about PlayStation Vue for a while, that they don't have a competing live TV or live traditional pay TV service like Dish or DirecTV to build their service off of. While they do have Sony, that only gets them so far. Philo has joint ventures with like Discovery, which supplies all the content. Hulu is jointly owned by Disney and NBC, and up until recently Fox, who now sold their share to Disney. Those all help them get better deals, according to reports, than PlayStation Vue has gotten. This has always made PlayStation Vue slightly more expensive, and ultimately may have led to their downfall, as all their contracts came up for renewal, not all, but a vast majority of them this year. The deals, what I've heard, were not extremely favorable to PlayStation Vue, shrinking their profit margins, putting even more pressure on their service. Now, this comes after investors last year put pressure on Sony to shut it down, citing the service not being as successful as its competitors, even ones who launched after it did. So Sony at the time pushed back, saying, no, PlayStation Vue gives us valuable data. We can look at what people watch and what they enjoy, and you help us take that data towards making new movies and TV shows. That hasn't seemed to pay off now. Now, what I've heard for some time is Sony didn't put its full effort behind it, and I kind of agree with that report I've heard. Sony never went all in on PlayStation Vue. As I said in the podcast last week, it felt like Sony wanted PlayStation Vue to help grow Sony, then PlayStation Vue helped to grow Sony to help grow PlayStation Vue. All you have to do is look at Disney to get an idea of what a company fully committed to a streaming service does. Disney's using their TV stations, their streaming services, their fan mail clubs, their amusement parks, and more to all push the new Disney Plus. Sony has always been very reserved a little bit. They haven't really gone all in to use Sony Music and Sony Motion Pictures and Sony Gaming to go after promoting PlayStation Vue. I think that ultimately hurt it. The fact that they weren't fully committed to every resource being committed into PlayStation Vue. I also think the name. I've had this discussion many times. Many people tell me, oh, I'd love to get PlayStation Vue, but I don't have a PlayStation. I think that hurt. And I think they had to spend a majority of their marketing in recent years, it felt like, trying to explain that PlayStation Vue works on other devices than a PlayStation. When you're doing that, you're not committing your full resources behind PlayStation Vue as why is it better than the competition. So I think there was many missteps here Sony did. Most recently too, they've had a lot of technical little bugs. Their updated Roku app earlier this year that rolled out came with a lot of app bugs. Fire TV version also. Now I feel bad for the PlayStation Vue subscribers. I just set my in-laws up with PlayStation Vue for their live TV streaming service. Because I know you're very dedicated. There's a lot of fans that absolutely love PlayStation Vue. And I get it. PlayStation Vue has a great channel lineup. Even though it may not be the cheapest service out there, it's not that much more expensive than other services. The DVR was good, especially when it launched. It had a DVR at the time when Sony really didn't, or Sling TV, excuse me, didn't have a DVR, which helped it stand out. Unlimited storage, keep it for several weeks, watch it when you want. And those were cool features that at the time no other service had. Now many other services are getting them. Now if you watched my channel for a while, if you read Core Cutter's news, you know I have talked about services shutting down, how there's a glut of these live TV streaming services on the market, and that some would fail. Now that's not necessarily a reflection of cord cutting. It's just kind of a reflection on the best services will rise up. Sony may have had many things that said, hey, we're a better service. But when their marketing was poor and there was confusion over the name, that just meant people went to different services. Now that we're seeing even more competition coming with T-Mobile TV someday launching, VidGo launching, and more, and AT&T saying, hey, HBO Max will someday include live TV. You could see why some of these services will just pack it up at some point and say, hey, it's been fun, market's crowded, we never quite got our feet underneath us in this, we're going to go somewhere else. Now, I firmly believe the vast majority of PlayStation Vue subscribers will go to something like Sling or Hulu or YouTube TV, AT&T TV Now, etc., rather than cable. So I don't think this is a negative reflection on cord cutting. I actually think this is a good example why cord cutting is the best. Because if your cable subscriber goes out of business, where are you going to go? You basically are out of options. With cord cutting, it's like, okay, this service didn't make it. Now the rest of the services will have an opportunity to get their subscribers. I would expect that this wouldn't be the last cord cutting service to shut down. More will probably shut down in the months and years to come, just because there's 100 services. I could scroll through this list here and just show you tons and tons of services here. No way all these services will make it. And that's okay, because in the end of the day, the best will rise to the top, the worst will fall down and fail. It's just kind of the way it happens. And sometimes it doesn't always mean the best in features or the best in channel lineup. It can mean the best with the best marketing. And that's where I really think Sony failed. Their marketing was poor, never had a dedicated social media, never had a brand it could really build off of. I always thought Sony Vue, or Vue TV even, would have been a much more successful streaming service. Well, there you go. There is what has happened. It sounds like it's been writing on the wall for a while, and I'd love to know what you think. Are you saddened to see PlayStation Vue shutting down? Does it surprise you? Leave me a comment, let me know. If you're new here finding us, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, it really does help us. And hopefully you'll check back for one of our regular shows where we dive, not nearly in this in depth, into some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, Monday through Saturday. So hit that subscribe button, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for your support.